You're listening to the Paracasual Destiny podcast. Thanks for tuning in to episode 18 of the Paracasual Destiny podcast. I'm Sultime. I'm joined by Sallybug, Romance Girl, and Green Stego this morning. How's everybody doing?
Pretty good.
All
Doing
right.
well.
Yeah.
Hanging in there. Happy for the weekend, for sure.
Excellent.
Yeah. Feeling rested. Got my coffee by my side. Ready.
All right. I don't think anything more needs to be said. I think we can end it here.
Y'all want to go play Beyond Light?
It was a pretty slow week in Destiny, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, not much happened.
Kind of this podcast thing's become sort of the obligation, and if I had my choice this morning between getting back to the Beyond Light campaign and this, I'd probably be on my Xbox right now playing. So
Same.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
So let's make it quick. Let's go quickly on this. Lots happening, lots going on. As usual, it seems we are in a serious Bungie crunch. But I'm curious what you have done so far in the new big DLC drop. Sallybug, start with you.
Well, do we want to talk? Do we want to talk in chronological order? What I've done this week? Because before it dropped, or are we just going to forget about that and just move on?
Give us a brief overview of what you did
highlights.
in Destiny. Just a couple highlights of your Destiny experience since the last time.
I would say my highlights this past week were definitely the dance at the farm. I did try to get a couple more catalysts, and with some success. I think I got one more. I'm not sure. Anyway, no biggie. And then started Beyond Light, which has just been phenomenal so far. I haven't gotten stasis for good as like something that I can choose. I'm still in the throes of the campaign,
right,
where I get to just experiment with it. But the little bit that I've experimented with it, I've had so much fun. On a hunter, primarily my hunter, and then we also dabbled in the Shah Han experience, and that was also amazing. I loved the not just the part where it gave new players more of a direction on where to go, but I also really just enjoyed revisiting the Cosmodrome and doing some of those older missions from D1. Just the nostalgia was real. It was so fun. So those were my highlights. We got very fortunate in that we had Veterans Day off. Thank you, veterans. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, that was Wednesday, the day after.
Made that sacrifice. And
So that you could play Destiny.
remembering everyone who have been a part of the armed forces. So yeah, thank you. And so we had that day off, so I got to spend a good deal of time on Wednesday playing until I got a headache and couldn't play anymore. It was just a lot of, it was like, okay, yeah, 8 hours straight is about my max, but it was so much fun. So much fun.
Romance Girl?
Green Stego and I definitely dipped our toes into the Beyond Light campaign. We haven't unlocked stasis permanently yet either, but we're getting there. You know, we've only been able to hop on for just like short sessions, but from what we've done, we have really enjoyed. Europa itself has met and exceeded expectations.
Yeah, I think we're all
absolutely.
big fans of the design, and we knew Europa was going to be breathtaking, and it delivered for sure.
We just stepped into that Clovis Bray facility yesterday or last night, and we were just slowly moving through the environment, looking all around. We were just stunned.
I don't know if Funny Bone is in the chat yet, but we were talking to him in person, and he was saying how he just couldn't help himself. Once he got there, he just started exploring, the environment. With he's like, I know I'm going to be going in here for some sort of mission or something later, but I can't help myself because this is so amazing. So yeah,
exactly.
It's super. Oh my God, the environments all over Europa are just outstanding. And
I love the weather.
Beyond my expectations.
The weather feature.
Oh, I love it too. It really does change. It changes your experience.
Yeah, I felt like it was kind of festive. I felt like I was in, like the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer stop animation Christmas special. It reminded me of that snow, that blizzard, looking, the Winter Warlock from
well, the Winter
Rankin
Warlock
Bass.
is from Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Now you're mixing up your animation.
Well, I know, but Rankin Bass inspired snow is always good. Green Stego, anything to add to your experience on the first week of the Beyond Light DLC?
No, just figuring out how best to use the powers of the darkness to ultimately to defend the traveler. But
have either one of you tried the Shahan experience yet?
No, not yet.
We're gonna do that today.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it, especially
no
any D1 no spoilers, but any D1 player. It obviously wanting to do the Europa and the main campaign, but it's fun.
Yeah.
We just got to the part where they asked us to visit Shahan, so we said this would be a good time to do New Light.
I found it a nice way to, and I maybe we're jumping the gun a little bit here, Neil, but I found it a nice way to level, right? Instead of doing some of that repetitive stuff, some of the stuff that the repetitive people have been, or the repetitive things that you can do to help your guardian level up. And I found that just doing the Shahan quest, you're dipping your toe into what that experience is for other players, as well as gaining experience and, like I said, the nostalgia piece.
Well, I don't know how far through the Beyond Light campaign I am right now. Certainly I haven't gotten to the end of it for acquiring stasis, but having done probably a good half of it, at least half, and completing the New Light campaign. I forget, it was Rise of the Guardian or whatever it's called. I have to say that I think the leveling is equal. I was getting just as many blue drops to level up as I was in the Beyond Light campaign. So I think it's kind of equal. I was playing it also from the perspective of, I think if you love the game, you owe it to yourself to see how we're introducing new people into this video game environment, and I feel it's the best they've done to date in terms of tutorial, which if you recall back to D1, remember asking Daniel, "What's this? What does this do? What is this?" And then you have to go to YouTube to find out, to get your bearings straight and to find out what to do next or whatever. There's very little guidance.
It was too open-ended. It really was too. It's like,
Well,
it was
I remember
thing about
yeah.
wanting you to just experience the world and try to figure it out versus like being so lost you have no clue what to do.
It's a fine balance, because some players really do want to figure it out.
Well, no, it was a design decision. It was actually a conscious decision
yes.
to let the environment tell the story. So there's a lot of complaints about not enough exposition or whatever, but and it does work in many instances. But it is a balance, like you said, Romance Girl. I think it's a balance between allowing players to find out stuff on their own individually, allowing the community to discover stuff and give avenues or opportunities for content creation and streaming and so forth, and giving you, hand-holding you like the Shah Han stuff does, and not allowing you to progress until you do the action to see how it's done. I think you need a mix of all of that stuff to hit it right. And I feel like this is the best they've done with that. And actually the little story, the little campaign he has you do is compelling. You want to carry it out because the story is driving, and I feel like it was super clever that they went back and rehashed some of those early D1 missions you do in the Cosmodrome, because they knew well that those were designed to be tutorial missions, whether it had the explicit do this, do that. Exactly. And so they rehashed those. They made great use of them. It was so much fun to do it again. You knew it was coming, but it had a different feel about it because it was somebody was depending on you, to whereas you were just kind of on your own, as I remember in D1. Now somebody's depending on your success, and it was very compelling for me personally. And I really just wanted to see how we're welcoming new people. I wish when our granddaughter started playing a couple months ago, I really wish this campaign was there for her. It's perfect. It would have been perfect. But, Sally Bug, you remember us, we're sitting on the couch guiding her through, okay, now do this. Now you have to do that. Don't worry about that. No, you don't need to look into that right now. And guiding her, kind of like what Shah Han does. We were doing it with her. So.
You were the Shah Han.
I was Shah Han. Yeah. Anyway, let's get on to the TWAB here. Let me see if I can call it up on our screen and see what's going on with this week at Bungie, November 12th, 2020. A couple of things. The trailer. I don't know if anybody got a chance to see this trailer here. It's the Season of the Hunt trailer, which I didn't expect for some reason. They usually, I guess they do a seasonal trailer, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and so I didn't expect it this time for some reason.
I know. I guess because it felt like it's in conjunction with Beyond Light, and we've gotten so much for Beyond Light. It did come as a surprise. It came as a surprise for me as well, and I haven't seen it yet. So.
Oh, it's good. What it makes me realize, I mean, it's nothing new that hasn't been hinted at or done, but it's great. Again, great music. It's just a classic. Bungie trailers are always fun. They're short, sweet, and beautiful. It just shows me how much more there is than just this Aramis thing going on. Like, there's so much beyond Aramis, right? Like the Wrathborn hunts that are coming, Osiris, the Crow, Xivu Arath storyline is coming to the surface. And so it got me hyped that they are, there's more rolling out, as we progress.
It is so nice that the story and the world of Destiny isn't just very linear, right? There isn't just one thing that
we got our first look at Hawkmoon too.
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
yep, they showed Hawkmoon in this. Yeah, that's great.
Oh, okay.
Encourage everybody out there to go check that out on the TWAB and look at that trailer. It's fun. Prepare to stop Zevo Wrath from attempting to seize power with the help of a familiar ally. It's a short twab. They talk about how some additional info on how status effects of stasis affect your opponents and you. This is not info the Vanguard will tell you. So they gave a little more details on what stasis is doing, and they broke it up into two sections, slow and freeze. So there's a slowdown effect and a freeze effect here. Let's just break it down. Has everybody used stasis here? Have you gotten to that part yet?
Just in the little parts where they give it to you.
Yeah. What do you guys think? I love the way it's rolling out that way, where you do a little attunement, a little kickback to Rise of Iron, and running out and giving it a shot. It's really motivational for me, because it's very RPG. There's like so many crystals you have to put together to complete, to get to the next big thing. So it's like, I love that. Stasis slow. Against comets, slow will shut off combatants' movement abilities and slow their movement. So it's just slowing them down. But then against players, it does all this. It really nerfs a player. Reduce movement speed, reduce ability regeneration rates, suppress movement abilities, the jump, dodge, etc. Reduce weapon stats. So your ADS goes down, your reload speed goes down. I can see why PvP is in an uproar right now over this.
Yeah, I would just clarify. I haven't stepped into PvP at all,
neither,
and I don't intend to.
Neither have I.
Yeah.
Even though they're saying comp is the best way to level up.
I did hear that.
Yeah, we definitely need to get a PvP representative in the mix on our podcast, because we're just not the right people for that, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll probably go into it a little bit more later on in the pod, but just talking about avenues of leveling and choosing that, like being able to choose that path.
Yeah, I do feel for the PvP players.
I do too. Honestly, I never thought I would think that.
We knew that. I think we knew, and I think Bungie knew as well, right? They have their testers, but until you get millions of people out there trying it and working with it, you don't really see how it's going to affect. Plus, I think they are still working out all of the bugs, right? They're like Wither Horde.
It'll be interesting.
Like something happened with Wither Horde where it just melted you almost immediately.
Right.
So I'm seeing all of this, of course, from afar, like through Twitter and stuff. I too have not gone into Crucible and don't have any plans to in the near future anyway.
Right.
In PvE, I have found so far stasis used against me is challenging but not game breaking.
Yeah,
okay.
I like the challenge. I like having that added thing of like, all right, how do I deal with this?
Oh, Sally Bug, we did play some PvP through Dado. We watched Dado doing comp. We watched about an hour of Dado getting owned.
Him try to level up. Yeah,
we watched him get owned in comp.
I actually slipped in. That's funny because last night I slipped into Miss 5000 Watts stream just for a minute, and she got paired up against Dado.
yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah,
that's because they're all in the same geographic location.
Because we actually watched Fallout Plays as well for a little bit, and he was playing Gambit to level up, and he got matched up with iLulu, who's another content creator.
It's like all of them.
Yeah, they're all on, and they're all on at the same time, and it's fun. It's fun. It's fun to, when we're too tired to play, to watch other people playing.
The little bit I did see of competitive PvP, it didn't look bad to me, though.
Yeah.
But I only saw a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm not one to make judgment on that. Anyways, stasis freeze.
Stasis freeze. Let's talk about it. All targets, the freeze can be shattered by damage. Shattering a freeze causes it to do a little area of effect damage to the frozen target and all nearby targets, including other frozen targets. Freeze lasts for some duration before crumbling off. Unlike shattering, a freeze that crumbles does not do any damage to the frozen enemy or nearby enemies. So that's a strategic piece of information.
They really want you to shoot at the freeze.
Yeah, they do. Or
Right.
they want you to, if you're not in peril, just let it crumble off of you and instead of trying to break it. Freeze will lock all non-boss combatants in place for the duration of the effect. Bosses will automatically shatter out after some duration. Okay. That makes sense. Okay, so against players, freeze will lock players into place when applied for the duration. While frozen, players will have their class ability replaced with a new breakout ability that allows players to exit their freeze early at the trade-off of health. And I think this is what is tough in PvP. The damage this breakout does can be reduced by the resilience stat. So everybody's going to be going for resilience armor. The more resilience, the less damage you take. Would seem Titans have an advantage there. Players can activate...
It's funny because I don't remember who it was. And maybe it was just a video that was just kind of playing in the background, but someone said, you're going to don't dismantle your high resilience armor. You're going to want high resilience.
They were right.
I think it's always been the stat to boost all the way up if you're a PvP player.
Right.
Hunters usually go for mobility, don't they, though? I don't know.
Yeah, but resilience is the way to raise your health bar. So things that in those situations where you're basically even with a player, which again, I'm not that competitive, so I'm barely ever in this situation.
Right.
But if you're otherwise even, resilience will give you that extra edge.
A little bit more. You can take a little bit more. The more resilience, less damage you take. Players can activate their supers to immediately break out in super state. Wow, okay. I wonder if that still damages you, though.
I was thinking that, too.
Yeah, interesting.
Like, would you just ruin your super if it killed you?
And then it says, like, when you freeze somebody and they're in their roaming super, locks players in place until broken out. You're already in your super, so you can't use that. Players will quickly shatter out and take a small amount of damage. So I'm thinking it slows down the super, but it doesn't, it's not a fun police thing where you suppress it. Right?
Oh, I think it does. I think it does suppress super.
Oh, it does? It doesn't really say that here, though. I thought it did, too. Anyway, yeah, this is an area that we don't know nothing about because we haven't tested it out ourselves. Against one-off supers, suppresses super and locks players in place until broken out or expires. That's where so the roaming supers, I'm wondering if it does suppress it. All right, it's interesting. And then all player freeze rules apply against the one-off supers, where you're talking your golden guns or your Nova bombs, that sort of thing, right?
Right. Blade Barrage.
Yeah, that's a little interesting. I'm wondering if it does suppress the roaming supers, like the Palpatines. You got your Palpatines, you got your Nova Warps.
I think it suppresses them, but they're able to quickly shatter out, so they can still move, but they don't have their super anymore.
Okay.
So it might not kill them.
Okay.
That's how I'm reading it, but I for sure.
Okay. Well, they use the word suppress in the one-off supers, but I don't see the word suppress up here, but that's what I thought, too, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Stasis is a new damage type, and we're excited to see how Guardians harness this new power. As always, we are monitoring community feedback and checking analytics. Boy, has there been community feedback, so that they can do the data check to consider future tuning of the sandbox.
They'll just make the freezing effects less what do you say, damaging.
Yeah, I think so.
You think they're just
They're
going to
gonna
nerf
they're
it?
gonna tweak it for PvP for sure.
PvP.
Yeah, they gotta nerf stasis.
I need to.
And a lot of this is where a lot of people are calling for separate PvP, PvE sandbox ability changes.
What if Destiny
Right.
were just to go PvE? Okay.
I don't think
I don't think PvP is a healthy
It's
part.
not funny.
What if it was just
I-
a different game?
as much as I don't like that experience, I think a huge part of our community is very much
Yeah, but
PvP.
Sally Bug, you say that, and I've watched you have so much fun in the Crucible, doing mayhem or you even had fun in comp because it's ranked, so you're going to go up against other ranked people.
Yeah,
but
I might need to do that.
the
Just
bad
start
experience is
dipping
when
my
you're just
toe
getting
in
pub
that.
stomped by stacked teams,
Yeah,
loosening up for trials. You know, that's where you
I
don't
don't know.
enjoy it.
There are playlists that I enjoy that aren't part of the comp experience. I think the part of it is that the game modes that I do enjoy, they've taken off skill-based matchmaking, and so I enjoy them less now. So that's kind of where I am.
Yeah, but the other, I mean, there's the pros and cons of skill-based versus connection-based is going to linger on for a while.
Yeah.
But what were you going to say, Romance Girl?
I was just going to say that, like, PvP obviously has a place in the game no matter what. You can't take it out.
Yeah.
You
it's
can't.
An FPS at
It's
its
Bungie.
core. It's
Bungie. And
it's
I've
a
always
huge
said
part of the game.
trials, I've always said account carries, trials, Freudian slip, is important for the health of the game. It's certainly, this game could have fizzled out if Trials D1 didn't exist. I remember
I'm
it.
not. You have.
I feel like it
made that statement over and over again. I'm a little skeptical of that. I don't know how much Trials.
We'll never know.
Actually,
it's just a speculation. I feel it gave it a big shot in the arm, and it put it at the top of the Twitch table at a time where they needed the boost from other criticisms that were taking place at the time. And I feel like they shouldn't have gotten. I also feel like they shouldn't have gotten rid of Trials when D2 came out. I think they should have kept D1 Trials going for another year, maybe, or another 6 months at least. But them closing it down was the beginning of a very hard, rough time for the franchise.
You're saying they should have had Destiny 1 Trials active while Destiny 2 was out?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like they should have.
Do anything for Destiny 2.
Yeah.
Well,
I think Destiny 2
incentivizes players to upgrade.
I mean, Destiny 2 just had a hard time finding its
Destiny 2 was launched unfinished.
Right?
Yes, it was rushed.
Trials of the Nine was just too different, I guess. I could see bringing up Destiny 1 style Trials of Osiris on launch to Destiny 2. But
all the better.
That's
what
I would have done.
But they kind of fixed what wasn't broken with the sandbox. I feel.
I just want to say, I'm gonna give them a little credit here for breaking out of breaking out of the comfort zone and trying something different and just saying, okay, like this has been the way Crucible has been for a while. Let's change it up a little bit, right? We didn't even have 6v6 controller clash when we first started in D2. It was all 4v4. It was all 4. And so I just think they were experimenting. They were trying something different, and they got some feedback on it, and have kind of moved on from it. But I give them credit for giving it a go.
Yeah.
They tried something new. It didn't work. They went back to the old way.
Exactly. Move on.
Yeah.
So
it is sad that Trials got delayed for this launch for 2 weeks.
But I feel like
I understand.
It was.
Yeah.
It obviously. I was actually really surprised. I think Soul Time and I talked about this before, even though we don't even really do trials. We were really surprised that they were going to try to do it right away.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too, because it's power enabled, right?
Mm-hmm. It's not only it's power enabled, and then you have the stasis, and you don't we don't know what bugs. You knew there were going to be bugs. You can't just
No, I'm with you. I thought that they were going to launch it sort of like the raid, like a delayed launch.
Yeah. It was lofty. It was a lofty goal to start right away. Give them.
But they did also. This has been it was a season that got pushed back, so I can also see how they were eager.
Yeah, it's true.
To get things rolling.
Mm-hmm.
This is true. Sally Bug and I were talking about, before we went live this morning, we were talking about the dance party experience and how I was kind of surprised how well how many people were in the farm doing it when I went down there. I was like, this is just something a clan, the Too Old to Grind clan, came up with, and one of their members, Cave 9269, posted something on Reddit, and man, it kind of took off. It was kind of amazing.
It was so
much the dance party was fun.
We wanted was full.
Yeah, we wanted to get together, but we actually couldn't.
Right.
Oh, and before we move on too much, can we all just talk about how amazing the end of Season of Arrivals was?
I didn't think
Funny Bone just brought that up in chat.
Funny Bone.
Event.
Funny Bone,
yeah,
Funny Bone.
The live event was amazing as well. Like
we all got together.
The last hurrah. Yeah.
Not in the same instance, of course.
But we were in the Discord hanging out.
And experiencing
posting
the same
memes
thing at the same time.
And having fun. It was
fun.
Great. It was so cool. Yeah.
So the last two things, one the one community oriented and community led, the dance party, and then the Bungie live event as a way to say farewell. And I loved how they had the darkness coming back, swirling over those planets, just like in the very early on Destiny 1 story.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the art style.
It was amazing. It was amazing.
Full circle. Sorry, Mike.
It was great.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Do we want to coordinate our coffee break with our dance party?
I think it is time for a coffee break. So I am going to refill the coffee here. Romance Girl, you said you had coffee?
Yeah, iced coffee.
Iced
coffee, but
you guys have really been into that iced coffee. You're gonna have to switch eventually. Like Stego mentioned, there's a cold front coming, so I think you're gonna have to.
We occasionally have hot coffee on. Well, because if you brew hot coffee, you can just have it right when you brew it, and then when there's leftovers, we pour it into the refrigerator, and then you just always have hot coffee and iced coffee.
We pour it into a carafe that goes into the fridge. We don't just pour it into the fridge. Like into the
I think I figured that out. I just never have any coffee left over after making a pot. Like, I would have to make a pot.
Well, we do sometimes make a full pot and then have it just sit on the stove, like late at night or something, just so that we have iced coffee in the fridge.
Sally Bug and I are considering getting a new coffee pot. We drink a lot of coffee.
I'm actually pour myself a little bit on this coffee break, so I'll be right back.
All right, let's let him take the coffee break. And
I thought you were going to show our dance party for our coffee break.
Show our dance party? This is a podcast.
We have the same coffee maker you all bought us like 10 years ago.
Jeesh.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
Shout out to that brand, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's still working.
What brand is that coffee maker, Dan?
Uh-oh.
Black & Decker. That's right.
Black & Decker.
No. I actually heard that Black & Decker is one of the better ones. I was just looking because we're in the market now, so I was looking at it as far as like reasonably priced. I mean, sub $100 coffee pots. Black & Decker comes up on a lot of sites.
Pot, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're drinking coffee from a Mr. Coffee right now.
We're drinking coffee left and right.
And it's really good.
And it's really, really good. Although I don't think it overflows, and we like a full pot. So
yeah, we can never really do. It's a 12 cupper, but we can never really do 12 cups because that would be for the amount of coffee that we put in.
Right. So back to the dance party experience. It is our first non-podcast Destiny video upload for the Paracasual Destiny podcast. So if you missed it, you can check out our video. It's uploaded on our YouTube page, and you get a sense of what was going on down there. Good fun, great community thing. Little stuff like that is what keeps me coming back to this game. Of course, just a great excuse to check in with everybody here as well.
I know it's almost time to get into the lore, but I do need to take a slight break myself.
A coffee break or some other kind of break? We should add a new segment to the show. We should call it toilet break, and we could play like the sound effect of a toilet flushing. All right, Romance Girl, what is your Destiny plans for this weekend? While she's doing that, and Stego's coming back with his coffee.
Well, we're gonna jump into New Light, and then probably continue on with the Beyond Light.
New Light to Beyond Light. I love it. Oh my gosh, life is good in the time of Corona.
We chose the Gambit track for our Adored quest.
Oh, you did. Good for you. I think we chose the Vanguard. The strikes. Both Sally Bug and I did. But
That's probably what I was leaning to. But Green Stego felt strongly about giving the new Gambit a shot.
I watched, like Sally Bug mentioned before, we watched Fallout Plays do the new Gambit, and it's kind of cool. And you can get in and out of a match 3 to 5 minutes. It's great. I can't wait to hop in. It looks like a lot of fun. I'm going to give it a try too. And I was going to say earlier, I give PvP, I've had some pretty bad experiences in it, and it gets frustrating for me personally because I'm just not that skilled, no matter how much I practice or try. And this has been ongoing for about 30 years now, since the first FPSs came out. So I just don't have very good game sense when it comes to maps and things like that. And no matter how much I play, I've got a ceiling. I'm one of those people who just have accepted I have a ceiling with it. But I do enjoy it, and I feel like it's important for the health of the game. And I'm excited to try out some of the new maps that are coming, and just maybe do just do that the pinnacle thing where you do 3 or 4 matches or whatever. Try to sometimes I call it and this happens with other media too. There's certain like series or things that just on the surface I can't bring myself around to watching it or getting involved with it or picking it up and reading it. But if I force feed it a little bit, I get it. I get over that threshold and I start really enjoying it. And I'm glad I force fed myself the said media or activity or whatever.
I have a hard time getting out of my comfort zone sometimes.
Right. And you know what? And that's one of the things I really cherish about this game is it forces you sometimes to do just that. Get out of your comfort zone, try something new, and you oftentimes surprise yourself. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Sally Bug just brought me a coffee refill. So,
Yeah, Green Stego just bought me a mocha with whipped cream and chocolate drizzle.
Good Lord, I wonder what Funny Bone's drinking. Has anybody checked the chat? I keep forgetting to check.
He said he drank bad, cheap ground coffee his wife brought home from work.
Good Lord, this is a tragedy. This is almost like Beyond Light being canceled.
I told him to get some quality beans.
Yeah, I think last week he had some really good
local
roaster
beans. Yeah, the Katahdin.
So I guess they burned through that, obviously.
Oh, how quickly the tables have turned on Funny Bone's coffee.
But you know, with Funny Bone, the glass is always, or I should say cup in this case, the cup is always half full. He says,
and it's funny because he
little bit of contrast to remind me how good coffee-life can/should be. Wow.
Yeah.
That is a beautiful quote right there.
I don't know when it happened, like when I made that decision, but at one point I just said, okay, there's certain things that I'm just going to pay the extra money for, and coffee kind of became top of the list. Like, I'm going to spend the extra money and get really good coffee, which makes more sense that now that I'm spending the extra money to get really good coffee, I should spend a little bit of extra money. And
I was gonna bring that up
and get the good coffee
big
maker.
on your dream coffee maker.
Right, because I mean we do have, we do grind our own beans. We don't have a burr grinder, which we've heard is really the way to go.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
So and Sultan, you saw a combo burr grinder and coffee maker together, right?
Oh, the Technivore? That's really expensive, but I've heard it's worth it.
Technivore. Like the Xbox Series X are all out of stock, so we could just use that.
I need a sound bar. Let's make our Christmas list now.
We got a new TV.
Oh, no way! Nice!
Congrats!
4K?
4K?
First question.
It's 4K, but it's still a budget 4K.
Right.
It was, a Black Friday deal. We wanted to upgrade for the Beyond Light experience. Daniel has been playing on a little 30-inch monitor.
Oh, I know. I remember.
Less than that. I think 22 inches.
Yeah,
it's small.
And he had to pull up his chair as close as possible. And we said, why don't we get a new TV for the living room so we can shift our old living room TV to right next to it, because we play basically
right next to each other. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Have you thought about going into your spare room with it and doing it that way?
We like being next to each other.
Yeah, I hear you.
Being next to each other is not the problem.
Yeah, this is. If we were in another room, we would just constantly be going back and forth, trying to talk to each other in the other room.
Right.
Yeah. We should rethink that, Sally Bug, because we might be able to do that kind of setup again. I was thinking about that the other day.
We, at one point, didn't we have you, your setup, you were at the top of the stairs, so at least you were in the same room?
Yeah, I kind of liked
it's nice
that.
being in the same room, right?
I kind of like that, yeah. Anyway, let's...
But our new TV, the Beyond Light looks amazing. Well, actually, I won't go too much into it, but we did get a TV and then had to return it, and then we got a different TV. But the new TV is perfect.
Perfect.
And Daniel has a great gaming setup now.
Long story short, we do not recommend LG products.
I predict your KD is going to go through the roof, Daniel. That's what I predict.
And Funny Bone, well. if anyone's looking in the chat, Funny Bone actually got a Series X. So
Funny Bone got
Daniel
the Series X.
He should get one yesterday.
Funny Bone.
Be able to play with his daughter. Right?
Yes. And I'm sure that was probably part of right. Just kind of an early Christmas present for the whole family, right? So,
okay.
And they've got two girls that are close, so they could get together. And I know they like to play Rocket League.
Yeah, that's fun.
Nice.
They do.
So now, any games that they like to play together that don't have split screen, or now, any games that they were playing together that did have split screen, they don't have to.
They don't have to do split screen anymore. Yeah, so it'll be fun. It'll be fun for the whole family.
Yeah. You guys can't hear it the way we have our podcast set up and streaming live, but I came up with a little Funny Bone song. It goes like this. Oh, funny bone, 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 funny bone. What do you think?
He needs to come on so we can get a clip of that and just play that. The Funny Bone.
It's funny
segment.
when Funny Bone said he got the Series X. It's like, oh my god, I should pull the trigger. I'm gonna go get one. And then I looked, and it's sold out everywhere.
Oh,
It is
wow.
sold out
we want one,
everywhere.
but we're gonna, I figured it would get sold out, and I didn't want to do the
Right.
thing. And
So,
also,
you know, I'm
TV
hoping, and I'm
upgrade before getting an X.
Yeah.
I'm sure Microsoft is probably hoping as well to get everything restocked for the Christmas season. So
Yes.
I'm keeping my eye out. I don't think there'll be any deals or anything on it for sure, but
Just a quick reminder, everybody, that Christmas is on its way. Winter is coming. No, winter's here. Okay.
well,
That was a visual
quite.
effect for those of you watching the stream live.
I see it.
Oh
Sorry.
yeah,
I just saw
nice. I like it.
Oh my gosh, that excitement, that's lightning in a bottle, Cassie. It was awesome. Your reaction to that was priceless. Okay, is it time for what I think it's time for?
I think it's time.
You think it's time, huh? All right, I think it's time too.
I think it's time.
So,
I'm actually kind of excited about this one because
Okay.
I have a theory I want to put out to the group.
Well, what time is it? What time is it for? Just to clarify to our listeners.
what time is it? It's
Yeah, what is it
11:57
time for?
a.m. Eastern Standard
Oh
Time.
my gosh.
Well, we never
It's time
actually
for
said.
a-
It's time for a touch of.
Oh, well, Paracasual Destiny Podcast presents A Touch of Grimoire. Take it away, Sally Bug.
So when I was trying to decide, it's like there's so much lore obviously going on, and we're just doing a touch of grimoire. So instead of doing something really broad, because I tried to tackle something super broad last time, it's a 23-page document.
That was more like a slap of grimoire.
Condense it, right? And I was like, all right. So when I was doing some digging, I was like, you know what? Let's just go easy this time. We'll do like we did before, and I'll take a look at the grimoire or the lore that came with duality. So if you got the season pass, you got duality right away. Is that right? Is that how duality dropped? Is that how we got
I
it?
believe so. Yes.
Yeah.
Duality.
And so, right, which I used almost immediately. Like, I think my first experience on Beyond Light, I just like, yeah, I'm putting that baby on, and it was amazing. I really liked it. I have not used it since because I am not leveling up anything. I'm just using the blues until I get to at least until I get to the soft cap.
Yeah, me too.
Where because and then I'll pick and choose what things I want to level up. But I learned my lesson last time. I think it was in the last season. I was just leveling up and pretty much anything, and burned through so many legendary shards and so many enhancement cores. So I'm going to be a little more frugal with that this time around. So the lore, however, with duality was interesting because it's kind of like an intro to, if you haven't read it yet, it's an intro to the season of the hunt, and it has talks about Crow going on one of these hunts at the behest of Baron Spider. As he is called in this lore, which I found interesting. I never heard him called Baron Spider before. Had you heard him called Baron Spider before? I just heard him called the Spider.
Yeah, it was always Spider.
I think Baron might be an Elixni title.
Oh,
makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in this, and I'm not going to read.
Wait,
this
who's the lore master here?
I'm not for sure on that.
All right, I'm not going to call myself a lore master.
We're just
we kid myself a master at all.
We kid because we love.
I just enjoy it, and I enjoy talking about it. But however, so it's an interesting intro to kind of these hunts that we're going to do, and how Xivu Arath has these yet another way for the Elixni to change in some way. But what I found most interesting about this, so the lore story condensed is he sets up kind of a trap or a lure to lure in Xivu Arath's Elixni, or Xivu Arath. Is it Elixni? Now I'm confused. Okay, I'm confusing myself by talking.
Wait, who's the lore master here?
So a group of Elixni Wrathborn were approaching the lure. This is where I'm confused, because Xivu Arath is not Elixni. She's Hive.
Yes.
So I have no idea what's going on. Is like Xivu Arath trying to recruit Elixni to be on her side? Is kind of, so that is an interesting piece to this story. And so the crow sets up this trap for the Xivu Arath Elixni so that he can take them down. But what was interesting about this story and this lore element is that his ghost is called Glint. So
what is it?
Glint?
Glint?
Glint, Glint. And I was like, Glint? Who's Glint? Like, Glint starts talking to him, and the way Glint is interacting with the story is obvious. Glint is his ghost, and I'm like, wait a second. I thought his ghost was called Pulled Pork. And so then I had to go back and look at the Pulled Pork lore entry, and I was hoping that Stego would read that entry, and then I will talk about a theory that I have.
And then, so I'll read this lore entry, and then we'll put on our spin foil hats.
Yes.
Okay. Pulled Pork. This is a lore entry from 2 years ago. The Forsaken campaign.
Yeah, it came out
Enkechi 32. Enkechi 32 lies on the hull of her ship, skimming through gossip and salvage requisition lists on Van Net. Agu nestles in the magnificent feather ruff of her chest plate and looks out at the debris of the reef. Revised crucible rules are garbage, blah blah blah. How does this have like 300 comments, she says, flicking to the next page. Where's the juicy stuff? Hey, it's Pulled Pork, Agu says, peeking up over one of Enkechi's tremendous pauldrons. She sits up right away, eyes lighting with interest. Really? Where? Pulled Pork is the name they've given to a very sweet, very earnest ghost that has been looking for his guardian for about as long as they can remember. Pulled Pork is not his real name, but it feels right, like calling Marasov by her full name instead of just her forename. Agu directs Enkechi's attention out into the floating scrap. Sure enough, there he is, a tiny speck moving with meticulous patience across the surface of a blasted-out fallen skiff. Let's go say hi, Enkechi decides, disabling her Van Net HUD. She climbs to her feet and begins a lazy zero-gravity parkour run, leaping and drifting from one hunk of scrap to another. "Hey, buddy," she calls when they get close. "What you doing?" Pulled Pork finishes up a scan of a floating piece of concrete and rebar, then turns toward them. "I am looking for my guardian," he chirps. "That's nice. You gonna find him in that rock?" "You never know, Miss Nkechi 32. Maybe my guardian is very small." "Maybe," Nkechi agrees. "But you might want to consider scanning the dead, bud. That shell's pretty snappy. Is it new?" "It's reef purple with a flower-like silhouette and silver detailing." "Yes, it is. It is. It was a gift. And thank you for your suggestion. I have considered it. I do often scan the dead. I also scan other things. I like to be thorough." Pulled Pork bobs in place politely, almost bowing. "Please excuse me one moment." He turns to scan a piece of warped plasteel. They watch, and Nkechi shakes her head. "Oh, leave him alone," Agu whispers in her ear. "If he goes through every bit of scrap in the reef, he'll find someone eventually. Sky knows there are plenty of bodies, and body parts, floating around here." "Yeah, we said that when we found him on Mars, and that was before Twilight Gap," Nkechi replies. "Well, with that in mind, let's check back in on him in a couple months. Who knows, maybe he'll get lucky and find the greatest guardian of all time." "Shoot, you found the greatest guardian of all time."
That's great. I've never read that one. This is very good.
This lore entry
That's a
so
great
much.
piece of lore. How'd I miss that? Because I remember looking up pulled pork.
Yeah, because I remember that one from people
Mylan?
brought that one up to show that this was Aldrin's ghost.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so at the very end of one of the seasons, I don't remember which one, they show Pulled Pork going up and finding Aldrin and bringing him back. But what I found interesting in reading this, and they gave a little hint of this as well, is Pulled Pork, who we now know his name is Glint, and Pulled Pork is, they've just given him that nickname for some weird reason. But notice that he has, in this lore entry, a new shell that, let's see, what does it say? Where is it? Where does it say that it gives the description of that new threat, of the new
It's
shell?
like purple and floral.
Yeah, it's like three-quarters the way down.
Yeah.
It's like a back and forth in quotes.
Reef
and
purple,
it says-
right?
It's
Reef purple.
Reef purple
Yeah.
with a flower-like silhouette and silver detailing. So this is my theory. My theory is Mara Sov gave him, he said it was a gift. My theory is Mara Sov gave Pulled Pork that shell and said, don't scan any actual dead guardians because I have someone for you.
I mean, I like the theory that Marasov gave him the shell, but they said that he had been scanning since Twilight Gap.
Yeah, that's true, but Mars, right, so maybe not initially, but eventually he gets to the reef, and I think for sure Marasov gave him that shell, and I don't know if she knew ahead of time that Aldrin was going to die. But
I think she did. I think we're dealing with some time travel shenanigans.
As usual.
right. I mean, Marasov has her hand in almost every part of this storyline. My feeling is she knew somehow, and she found a ghost that hadn't found a guardian yet because he was meticulous, and gave him that pretty shell and whispered in his ear and said, or at least directed him to the area.
It could be that she knew that he was the ghost that was gonna find Aldrin, and so she gave him that shell. Like, not that she made him go find Aldrin, but the other way around. Like, she knew he was going to find Aldrin.
Yeah.
Because I think that, I don't know if this was this entry or if it was another entry, but it was something about, I mean, he does mention that he has scanned dead, and he just hasn't found a guardian.
He hasn't found his guardian,
found someone
right.
worthy. Yeah, he hasn't found someone who connects with the light.
Right.
Yeah.
But I found it. I had read and heard this lore several times, but I never really made that connection between the ghost having the gift of that reef shell, and then of course him going out and finding Aldrin. There's definitely a connection there. Like what that
and if we see,
is,
I agree.
don't know.
I also will say that we saw when we see the scene. I think that's a really good catch. I didn't necessarily make that connection. I think that is a good guess that some Marasov or someone of the reef gave that to him. But we also see in the scene where he's finding Aldrin, he's still doing his obsessive scanning.
He scans everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, but
He's
it could be that
everything.
Right, but it could be that Marasov got him to be looking in a very specific area.
It could be, but we do know that he's been traveling
directing.
all over, and he scans everything.
Yeah, and didn't the ghosts like all come about since after the collapse? So hasn't Glint, aka our friend who had been nicknamed Pulled Pork, but wasn't Glint looking for his guardian for basically 1,000 years or something?
Yeah,
and then he just never found it because he hadn't died yet.
Right. So it's either it's either a scenario where Marasov knew that this was going to be Aldrin's ghost, or and that's why she gave him that gift. Now, whether she was given that information from, because we already know that our friend, the stranger, can travel through time.
Mm-hmm.
That we already know, and so if she was able to give that information,
Mara evaporates the same way the stranger does.
Right. There's something very curious about that whole situation. So I think she constantly talks to us like she's already seen what unfolds. Right. So maybe I like your theory as well, that maybe she knew that was going to be his ghost because she saw it. But maybe that's why because if you think back to the Reef Wars, she made the conscious decision, because they were kind of minding their own business, and she made the conscious decision to fight for the Guardians and be on their side during the Reef Wars, right?
Yes,
Is it the
I
Reef
believe so.
Wars?
Yeah, we've had a tenuous allyship, alliance.
Yeah, but she made the decision to ally with the Guardians, and I'm thinking that rather than just standing back and let them kind of do their own thing, and I'm wondering, did she end up doing that because she knew in the future her own brother was going to be a Guardian?
No, I don't think everything she's doing is for the love of her brother.
Yeah,
I think this is incidental to her plan, not the ultimate in making.
No, I'm not.
That we're fighting.
Yeah, obvious. Yeah, but I
think
I would
be
bigger those familial. You don't know what those familial ties are, though. You don't know.
I think getting the Awoken involved into a war and leaving their utopia where they were protected is that would be insane if it was all because she knew her brother would eventually get caught up into this war, and as a cause of that, become a guardian, and so they should be involved in the war so that they're fighting. You know what I mean? It's getting a little muddled.
Yeah, I would say from what we know of the lore of Ido and Petra and their relationships with Morozov, she's not a particularly sentimental leader of the Awoken, Queen Morozov. Right. She evokes a strong emotional response in her subjects, those loyal to her, but she doesn't have the same kind of almost ability to be personal with
vulnerable. She's not a vulnerable character.
She's not vulnerable. She's like otherworldly.
Right.
And I think that it probably is because she has this kind of clairvoyance or just ability to time travel.
But
or at least see through time.
Minimally, based on this lore entry, I do still think that she's the one who gave, on a very minimum levels, I think she's the one who gave pulled pork or Glint that new shell.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
I agree with that too.
So there is at least a little bit of sentimentality, even if it's not, enough to say, oh, hey, I'm going to get involved. I'm going to get involved in the war for the benefit of my brother, type of thing. But there's so many different things, and that's kind of the way lore works. And especially when you're talking about time travel, there's so many different ways. Just like, what do I have to like put things in motion because I know what's going to happen in the future, and what is my part? And what is our part going to be in this? And that's kind of what's going on with the Stranger as well.
Yeah, time travel in multiple timelines allows... It's almost like kind of a cheap narrative tool to just make anything possible. If you think about it. I mean, it's possible that one of Spider's toadies gifted the shell. Right.
I'm very curious too about I know Aldrin is going to take a center role in these Wrathborn hunts and this season, but I'm curious to see how his character is going to evolve, and it's so genius.
Maybe we'll get more lore around it that will clarify some of these things.
While we're on the topic of lore, have you guys seen the new interface, the new UI for lore books in game?
Yes.
So good.
Oh, so good.
It makes me want to read it more, right? It's so inviting.
To read it now.
Which I can read now because I have glasses that allow me to be able to read a screen. My prescription was getting a little weak, so I have new glasses and I can read lore on the
screen. In time for the lore.
Just in time to read lore on the lore pages. I'm excited. Yeah, I love the interface.
And the book covers, so cool.
The book covers are great.
Yeah.
It's you don't necessarily have to unlock it. Is that correct? Like at least past lore, you didn't have to unlock it.
Past lore is open to everybody.
Yeah.
Right. So,
that's great.
I love that. I love that it's just because you didn't find that triumph or you didn't find that lore, that the story is still available to you, and you don't have to look outside of the game. You can just go and read it. Mm-hmm. I love it. It's like a library. It's like going into like the old library and gathering.
Yep. All right.
Sitting down for a good read.
Yeah. Is it time for the next segment?
I think so.
That was a good touch of Grimoire segment.
Yeah, that was really a good one. A great segue into the Wrathborn hunts that are coming up. So.
On Glint.
Yeah.
Yes. You've been caught up on Glint, a.k.a. pulled pork.
Yeah.
It looks... I read somewhere, and I don't know if this is confirmed, but it seems like he adopted Glint since partnering with the Crow.
Oh, he adopted the...
Glint might be a nickname the Crow gave him.
Oh, it could be. Yeah, because I think
didn't
Glint
see
is
that confirmed,
technically
but-
another nickname. I mean, do ghosts actually have names?
No, our ghost is Ghost.
Yeah.
So they do have
Yeah.
names though. Most ghosts in the lore go by a name, but I think it's a
Right.
guardian named
Right,
your
the guardians are the
names.
ones who give the names, and I think the reason that Pulled Pork got a name outside of having a guardian is because he was like just being like this meticulous.
Yeah, he was just kind of well known amongst there are ghosts out there like Pulled Pork that haven't found a guardian, and they do other things to help the last city.
They're like Santa's elves in a way.
In a way, yeah. Okay, anyways, I just wanted to say thank you for the touch of grimoire.
Yes, and the
You're
foil
welcome.
hat. The spin foil hats are always fun to wear. Yeah, so our next segment, we do a touch of grimoire, and we also have another segment in which we explore some of the sounds of Destiny. Paracasual Productions presents Destiny Soundcheck. On this week's Soundcheck, we are featuring another voice artist, and I have queued up some of his work for us to give a listen to. So let's give it a listen and see if you can guess who this is.
Hey. Thanks for the assist. Again. Wish you stumbled in a day earlier. Might have gone differently. Maybe Cass and Maeve. I'm just glad the light chose you. I've got new orders to stick around and scout Navota's brood. Maybe I'll find some other new lights to shepherd along. As for you, it's time you meet Commander Zavala. He leads Guardian Ops from the last city. I've told him you'll be arriving soon with a superconductor, so take care of that thing. No dents or scratches. Zavala's a great leader and a good person. Learn from him. And don't be a stranger. Guardians are stronger together, right?
Okay, we were listening to the voice of none other than Shaw Han, who will guide new Guardians into the world of Destiny from now on. And Shaw Han is voiced by none other than Corey Yee, who is new to the Destiny roster of voice actors. I found a little bio on Corey from Gfinity. A Star Wars fan from Orange County, California, Corey Yee grew up playing video games from the likes of Blizzard and Bungie. So we've got a fan doing voiceovers. This is great.
Yes.
I always love when that happens. After cutting his teeth as a voice actor on projects like an Overwatch Machinima series, he eventually landed work in video games, including Hi-Rez Studios' Smite, in which he voices Splinter from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I know we have a big Ninja Turtles fan amongst us. On Tuesday, November 10th, Yee got to announce that he'd recorded his first SAG-AFTRA role back in April, Shaw Han, the brand new tutorial character in Destiny 2. Well, welcome to the fold, Corey. We are happy to have you, and I love the character of Shaw Han. There's kind of a little bit of like almost like anime style to this character, like the facial expressions and sort of and without giving away probably the voiceover there. I'm glad you guys couldn't hear it because it does reveal a little bit about the New Light experience, but you'll get there soon enough. And I think that wraps it for another episode of the Paracasual Destiny podcast. Any final thoughts before we talk about what else we've been up to?
No.
No?
Excited about Beyond Light. Excited to actually wield the darkness completely and have my option to be able to do that and get my hands on that.
Will you do it even if Zavala asks you not to?
Probably. It is interesting how the orbs
Please
that are
be
dropping
safe,
are now
Guardian.
now are called orbs of power. They're not called orbs of light.
Don't take
Yeah.
any chances.
We've seen some orbs of dark out in the, well, they're not called that, but I call them that. Some orbs of dark out in the wild.
Yep. I've come across doing a public event on Europa with other Guardians who already wield the power.
The power.
So yeah, it's fun times. Always exciting to delve in. I'm excited for the Wrathborn hunts and learn more about what's going on with Aldrin and Osiris. I'm glad Osiris hasn't taken a back seat either. That he's still kind of super involved in.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm excited about that too. That they're continuing on with some of these storylines.
Yes,
Because we have some great characters in here.
Yeah, a lot of great characters, a lot of great lore, where it feels like no matter what they do, it's always been planned, because
Even if it's not planned, they make it connect very well, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
There have been few moments in Destiny, if none, where I'm like, would that character really do that?
This is.
I just feel like it all makes sense and it all feels real.
I think we're in a
very cohesive.
Right.
Their storytelling is very cohesive, even when we have huge year-long gaps, in the story. When
They're
it does
very
finally come
respectful
back,
to all
it
of
makes
the material.
so much sense. Yeah.
I almost feel like we started off in Destiny 1 with a beautiful vase that's shattered, and they're just picking up the pieces and putting it all together, and it's starting to take form.
Wabi-sabi?
Kind of.
Wabi-sabi.
What outside of Destiny has anybody been consuming that you'd like to share? Anybody?
No, but when I'm done working, if I have any time left in the day, I hop on Destiny. I'm not doing anything other than play Destiny.
Just
right now.
Destiny. Okay, full course of Destiny. I wanted to share that I discovered a really cool series of broadcasts from, I think it ran from 1986 through 1994, called Beyond Vaudeville. And it's hosted by a sort of a fictitious host. It's from cable access in Manhattan at the time. So it's super low budget, and they use the low budget environment to their advantage to create what I feel is, and I don't know how I didn't discover it until now, one of the biggest influences on the likes of Tim and Eric and things like that came out on comedy. What is it?
Yeah, when you said fake or fictional host, that was what I was thinking.
Right, it's the fictional talk show host where, and they have on. Usually, the premise of the show is, and they're about a half hour each, and somebody's uploaded them. I'll share the link below in the description. They'll have on a big name person who most people would tend to remember. Al Lewis, who was Grandpa Munster, or somebody like that, or Quentin Crisp was on one that I watched the other day. And then he would go out and just strike up conversations with crazies hanging out in Washington Square or Bleecker Street or at a science fiction convention. And he would have them come on and perform. One noted example is it gave rise to this woman's career. Her name is Suzanne Muldowney, and she did a very odd performance as Underdog. She did the whole cape thing, but she did sort of interpretive dance that represented the true essence of Underdog. And very bizarre. And of course, it reminded me of the Uncle Floyd Show, which is another thing that I would highly recommend. So that's what I've been doing.
Like the origins of like Between Two Ferns and those.
Oh my gosh, they owe it all, that whole concept, the whole concept. But the cool thing about it is,
what is the one that
the greatest thing about watching
it? Like he did that one, a few years back. Jiminy Glick.
Yeah, definitely it predated all of that. One of the neatest things is, when you watch Tim and Eric or any of these shows, Comedy Bang Bang, that they make such use of technical difficulties, like a mic being overmodulated or some rustling noise that's like really loud or whatever. And this is where it came from, and it wasn't planned. It's all because it's so low budget. But that's where it's all organic. All of those effects, all of the camera going to the wrong place or whatever, or being out of focus, or the sound thing not coming up, the sort of sound bite being delayed by 12 seconds, is all organic. And it's so much fun to watch how this set the groundwork for all of these other things that I enjoy. And of course, last night I kind of ended up binge watching some of the what's it called, The Last Kingdom, which has anybody seen that?
Wow, no. I've seen it come up on the Netflix screen occasionally.
Right?
But
yeah. It's pretty.
Actually,
it's pretty good. It's drama centered around the Vikings' presence in England. And
speaking of which, we did. Yeah. It's on its way. I was able to grab a deal on Assassin's Creed Valhalla. That's probably
why I was attracted to this. I wanted to see some of the get hyped up for that to arrive.
Get hyped up, and I actually don't usually play Assassin's Creed, but I certainly enjoy watching you play it, and kind of sit on the couch.
Yeah, you're
watch, enjoy it from a spectator's perspective. So,
all right, I think that wraps it up for this week's episode. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in, especially Funny Bone for hanging out and chat with us for episode 18 of the Paracasual Destiny podcast. You can look for us on Twitter at ParacasualP, on YouTube channel right here, where we broadcast every Saturday morning at around 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Please consider a like, subscribe, or comment. Give us some feedback. Tell us to stop saying so much. We would love to hear from you. So long, everybody.